If you're like oh so many other people and you're confused or intimidated by the e-ticket that you have to fill out in order to get into the Dominican Republic, I'm going to break it down for you here. I'm actually going to show you how to fill it out. So come with me while I fill out my e-ticket.
So first, a few facts about the e-ticket. There used to be a tourist card that you got as your tourist visa for $10 when you got to the airport. That has gone away and been combined with the customs declaration form and the health declaration form into this e-ticket, which is essentially your tourist visa. And when you fill it out, it's going to ask for your flight information to get into the country, your passport number, the airport you're leaving from, the number of days you're staying. Now let me say a word about that. Some countries and some airlines require that you have a return flight. But if you're not 100% certain of when you're returning, you don't need to worry about that. Just book a refundable flight, and then when you get to the Dominican Republic, cancel that flight. Technically, this e-ticket / tourist visa is good for 30 days. If you stay longer than 30 days, when you leave the country, you will be asked to pay a penalty for that. It's usually a couple of $100, but you don't need to worry about that until you leave the country. And that takes care of it. So there's nothing to be afraid of in terms of this e-ticket when it comes to when you're going to return. There are several ways to get to the e-ticket application. Most often this is done through your airline. They will probably send you reminders that you need to fill out this paperwork, and they'll probably provide you with links to the Dominican site where you have to fill out the application. At least that's the way United Airlines handles it. They want to be sure that you've got that documentation in place before you get to the airport. So even if you fill out the e-ticket way in advance, say several weeks in advance, your airline is probably going to want you to upload those documents within 72 hours of your flight. So you can fill out the forms and get your e-ticket in advance, but your airline's probably going to want proof of that closer to the time that you're going to actually travel. So if you were looking for the Dominican e-ticket site, all you have to do is Google a Dominican e-ticket like I have here. And so you would just click on it here, and that takes you to the e-ticket site. Now it will most likely automatically translate for you, but if not, you've got this drop down in the upper right hand corner where you can select the language that you need it translated into. And you're going to click on e-ticket application. Now, I don't know why, since we asked for it to be translated to English, that it didn't translate this part, but basically the left button says you're doing a new e-ticket while the right button says you're wanting to edit an e-ticket you've already received. So we're going to click on New e-ticket. Then you're going to get to the next screen, and for some reason it did not translate it into English, so we're just going to go up in the right-hand corner and translate it again. We're going to clarify that we're not a robot, and we're going to click Submit. And that takes us to page 1 of the application. And this is going to have your application code on it. It's that blurred out area there on the screen because I didn't want to show you my application code. But you're probably going to want to screenshot that, or at least jot that code down so you've got it for later. And this next screen is just your normal everyday information, your address, your country of residence. Now I'm using a password manager that saves this information for me, so I can enter it automatically when I have to do it over and over and over. But I'm going to blur out my address for obvious reasons. If you were making stops in other countries, you would answer yes over in the right-hand side, and then you're going to click on Arrival to the Dominican Republic and then click the Next button. And this is where you enter the names of the passenger. That would be you, unless you're filling this out for a child or someone else. So you'll simply put in your name information. It's all self-explanatory. Your passport number, you'll have to put your passport number in again. Civil status simply means marital status, so you'll select which one applies. Select an occupation. In my case, it's retired. You'll need to answer the question, is the nationality of the passport different from your place of birth? In my case, it's no. After you've entered your phone number, you're going to want to answer, are you a foreigner resident in the Dominican Republic? In other words, do you have residence status in the Dominican Republic? And in my case, that's no. And for most tourists, that is no. Then you need to answer the question about where you're staying in the Dominican Republic, and it would be one of these choices at the bottom with the radio buttons. In my case, it's an Airbnb. That being the case, they want my address in the Dominican Republic, and this is where it gets a little tricky. The first thing it wants to know is, what is the province? Do you know what province it is that you're visiting? Now, I happen to know that where I'm staying is La Altagracia, but if you don't know, here's how you can find out if you are staying in an Airbnb. Go to Airbnb and pull up Getting There on your listing, and it should give you the address right there, including the province. The next thing it's asking for is the municipality. But our Airbnb only lists Punta Cana and the province, so how do we know which municipality it is? Well, here's how you find out. You go back over to your Airbnb listing, you highlight it, copy it, and then go to Google, paste in the address, and then add in what municipality is before the address, and then you'll get your answer. And then after that, you're going to fill in the section. And if you don't know what section you're in, then use Google to do the exact same thing we did before. In our case, it happens to be Bavaro. Then you'll enter your street and number, which you will also get from your Airbnb listing. And if your Airbnb listing still doesn't look like it's correct in terms of the street address, because the addresses in the Dominican are really kind of funky, then just simply send a message to your Airbnb host and ask them what it should be. The next step is to fill out your embarkation port. That is the port from which you will leave your country. For example, I actually initiated my flight in Greensboro, North Carolina, but connected in Newark, so Newark is my embarkation port. My disembarkation port is the Punta Cana International Airport, which is PUJ. Then you select the airline that you're flying, the flight date, the flight number, and you can usually get this from your airline's website or your airline's app on your phone. Now, this is for a trip I took in September when I was only here for 28 days. But as of the recording of this video, I have since returned for 91 days, and I actually did enter 91 days in that box and had no trouble at the airport or getting my e-ticket. Then it asks you if you plan to do any of these dangerous things while you are here. I do not. And then I will click on the next button. The next section is the customs section, and you simply answer the questions on that page. Make sure you read everything on this page, that you answer the questions accurately, and then click the next button. I answered yes to this question because I brought my dog with me. Then it's going to ask you if anyone helped you fill out the form. I always answer no, but if you answer yes, I'm sure it will ask you who, and you will fill out that information. Then it asks you to confirm that what you've declared on this form is true, and all you have to do here is click on OK. Here you have the option to complete your exit ticket at the same time. I never do this because sometimes I decide to extend my stay or leave early, and I don't want to lock myself in and have to fill this out a second time. So I usually wait to fill out the exit ticket just before I exit the country. The next thing you're going to see is your e-ticket with the QR code. You can download this as a PDF. You can send it by email. And I also suggest doing a screenshot of it and saving it to your phone as a picture, so you can always retrieve it when you need it at the airport. In most cases, I will also print it so that no matter what happens, I've got a copy of my e-ticket. So I hope this clears up some of the mystery behind the e-ticket, why you need to fill it out, and that it's really a lot more simple than it looks like, and that there might be some misinformation online about what is required at the airport. If you want to get more helpful hints like this, be sure to subscribe to our channel and check us out at nowinpuntacana.com, where you can get discounts and perks at local businesses in and around Punta Cana.